episode 9.
I didn't know we were starting. I was like, here we go. Will I do a wave? Will I do hello?
I was going to see how long I could let you jig before.
Yeah. So those ones I did.
And knowing that you probably cut off like 30 seconds of it without it being.
I'll leave it run. It's like when the camera in the news crew, people, they don't know it's on and they're like fixing themselves and then they're like, we're live. So
how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I have some cool things to share. First thing I want to share, a group of zebras is called a dazzle.
It is.
Do you see it? Uber facts.
New wallpaper. We are going to have dazzles everywhere.
I didn't even know you had that, and you didn't even know I was going to say that.
No, I didn't know.
Today. It made me smile. What else? So on the back of the Myths book, Amy and I have set up a seminar series going into the world of L&D. And we didn't know if the authors of the chapters would be interested in doing a kind of 1 hour session. And almost all of them have come back to say they're going to do it. So starting next month, once a month, just one session a month, starting with a chapter. Anna's going to kick us off. Anna started on learning styles until 2023, once a month, each group, whether I don't know if all the authors can commit within each chapter, but I'm delighted about that.
Amazing
opportunity. Like that's part of bringing the world of academia with the practitioners and all that, when people go make the language easier, dilute. No, well, actually, you've got a really important role as a coach. So you got to up your game a little bit. And then maybe the researchers can look at the practical implications a little bit more, but blah, blah, blah. That's coming on. So delighted that we got that in place. And there'll be a little bit of a one-page marketing thing go out. It'll be free, obviously, but yeah, so that's happening. I'm so delighted that they're going to give up their time to do that, and Amy and I'll kind of facilitate that. I'm hearing and seeing a lot online, and I was part of this a couple of weeks ago. Face-to-face workshops are back in action.
Whoop.
Oh yeah, so cool. So I'm seeing doing less on Zoom, which is fantastic. And I did a session with a group of RFL coaches, and all I wanted to share, besides it being a bloody great weekend, is if you're not getting to other environments to watch other sport, you need to do it. Because the conversation we had when we went to watch some netball, when we were in Leeds Beckett last week, was just unreal. What we felt when we arrived in the environment, what we saw in the warm-up, player-led warm-ups that don't happen in rugby, great discussion around that. The audience participation, or the people who came to watch it, who they were, what type of language they used, how close they were to the court, the coach interaction. It was just brilliant. And I think people sometimes fear that, which some of these coaches did, like, what am I supposed to see here? What are you looking for, from me at the end of this? So we had that primed pretty well, but it was really great experience. So how about you?
Exciting. Well, again, you didn't know I was going to say this, but this is my notes from my meeting.
Oh, wow. Oh my goodness.
So, I'm currently writing a talent ID workshop, and I'm interviewing a number of elite athletes to look at their journey from 0 to 21, 23, something like that. And that was a GB rower. Wow. A woman called Annie Vernon. She's written a book called Mind Games.
I have it inside. Yeah.
Yes, me too. Yeah.
Really good. Oh,
and that's her journey. To then kind of make sense of that compared to other elite athletes. What does their journey look like? What was she like physically? What was growing up like? What was school like? Fascinating.
Is that a book? Are we doing a book? Are you doing a book?
I'm not doing a book. No.
Twisting arm.
Well, I mean, I have written some books, but they're aimed at children. Have I told you about them?
You told me you were doing them. Are they done?
I've written 3. I've not published them yet. I'm doing the.
We will definitely do a plug when they come up. We'll actually read. I'll read an excerpt when they come up.
Yeah. Although, entirely aside, in book 4, our mutual friend Sarah has got the right hump because she's the playground bully. But she won't watch this. It'll be fun.
Claim to fame.
So that is Annie's story from growing up on a farm in Cornwall to Team GB Olympic rower and everything in between.
Likes of
They didn't start rowing until she was 17.
Oh my goodness! Whoa. Rightio. Oh gosh, that's going to be exciting to hear. Watch this.
Yeah. So that was quite cool. It was a good conversation.
We'll be doing a link to log on to the workshop.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, cool. So yeah, what's on the agenda this week? What have you seen online? But you have posted some stuff this week that I've come across. Do you want to share?
Yeah. So what's your view on this? So
Okay.
I said during the week, the best coach in grassroots sport is nothing to do with who wins the most. It's the one who makes the biggest difference to young people, changes lives, teaches skills they will need for life, and develops better people. It's about using sport to help the next generation.
Okay. I mean, did your phone crash after you tweeted that, or?
I don't have notifications on, thankfully, as it had like 1,300 likes and yeah.
I mean, it's a nod and head for me immediately. I was trying to write down all the things you were saying at the side after wins, like difference changes lives. And, you know, for me, over the years, when I've discussed that with different people, I feel the biggest part for people is that you don't get immediate feedback as a coach that you are changing lives.
Yeah.
So it's hard to stay in the game long. And probably in some areas, like if you're coaching Sunday league or you're doing a bit of volunteering or part-time work, and you're not fully kind of maybe immersed in a performance pathway, that actually the wins every so often keep more people coming, or the wins keep the parents thinking that you're good at your job. But actually, if we've discussed this a number of times, if people are coming and they're enjoying the experience and you have things within the sessions that create a win, like if you're getting hammered, if it's an invasion sport and the score matters, if you're getting hammered all the time, I can see how people might get frustrated. But that's your job as a coach. That's your craft, to try and create those spaces where they connect with each other. They learn the language of the sport. They watch it on TV. They can now have conversations. But the amount of people I've coached basketball to over the years who've come into programs having played for a time, like, yeah, they've enjoyed it. They've played in primary school and now they're coming back at university and want to have a good time. Or they're in a social group and they go, oh, don't mind me now. I'm not great at this sport. It doesn't matter. You liked it. Something happened when you were young. You liked it. And now you're coming back while you live in London to play a social bit of basketball. And I'm not going to coach you, but I'm going to show you some spaces that we can have some fun and maybe develop some of what you think you're good at, to enjoy the sport and to compete a little bit more. But I love that. What are your thoughts? Was any kickback? Any interesting?
Yeah, one particular person who I quite like, as an academic, he's a good guy, just kind of raised the question that he doesn't think that sports coaching is about that, and kids turn up because they want to play the sport, and therefore he just has to do the sport, which I think was kind of interesting. But I don't see the future of coaching as like that. And somebody made the point that coaches aren't equipped to deal with supporting the development of life skills. And when I say life skills, I don't know. I'm not saying like, how to set up a bank account or how to iron a shirt. Like, I don't think like that might be a life skill, but like we're not talking about that kind of thing through sport. But the ability to hear other people's opinions or work together to solve a problem. Those are the kind of life skills I think that are important here. And I just see the future of sport and coaching is about the two things together. I think it is about sport because that's what brings people in. But the reason that we do it is to help develop them. And so I now look at, the skills needed for the future workforce and resilience, grit, creativity, living in a virtual world, etc., etc. Like this is the stuff that I think that sport can have a way, if you cleverly set it up, that it creates opportunities for young people to explore what these spaces look like as well. Yeah. And I think for somebody to go, well, that's not what sport's about, I think you're kind of missing the point. And even on Tuesday, so under 8 coaching session, and we were just doing like these kind of 2v1 games, really. It was great. We had 8 kids because it's half term. So we had 8 kids. And they were literally just playing 2v1 and a goalkeeper at either end. And I said to 2 kids who are probably one who would be top 5 in the group, another who probably would be struggling from a football perspective, and someone would go, well, he's good and he's not.
Yeah.
But actually, when you start to have this conversation about, come on, what's your plan? How are you going to get past the defender? And the kid that was not so good at football went, right, this is what we need to do. I'm like, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah.
And it was great. And he had really good ideas. Like, his body might not be able to do some of the things that he was talking about doing, but he also showed a real good level of understanding. But he also communicated this to the other 8-year-old kid, 7-year-old kid in the group. And then he said, what do you think? And I'm like, oh, yeah, this is interesting. So people that then say you can't use sport to develop this kind of stuff. And I pulled on that at the end, and all the kids coming together at the end. I'm saying, look, I really like that Finn said, what do you think? And asked somebody else their opinion. So that was a really kind thing to do. And I said, we both learned something then as well.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so powerful.
How is that not possible that we use sport, whatever sport, to do that, to help the kids get better at being a person?
And listen, there's no disagreement with me here. And I know people, oh yeah, you're on the same page, so why can't you see the other angle? But for me, there isn't another angle. Look at a couple of examples here. You mentioned the virtual world, which I'm dabbling in at the moment and learning. But like, look at esports and look at the success Fortnite had. There's kids working together. I know Fortnite's not a great example for younger people, but like, there's kids working together online virtually already. They're getting into groups. They're loving the challenge of problem solving. Who's hiding? Who's reading a map? How are we finding this person? Blah, blah, blah. They're doing that here. The other part that ruffles my feathers a tiny bit is when we don't see the coach role as a real important responsibility. So whether it's the establishments, organizations, NGBs, people who design curriculum, they have to think about what the coaches need. And then the coaches go and attend and tick the box and get the qualification. So it's their responsibility to see what the needs are. But like, just like someone said to me when we did a UK coaching learning style session, and Anna jumped in and someone said, but like, you know, are learning styles bad for you? Right? That's what they said. And why that resonated with me was, it's like I was trying to link it to safeguarding. So if they're not good for you, then why would we do them? Right? Now, I'm kind of gone off on a tangent here slightly, but stay with me. That like, if we don't see the vastness of the role, where the space of, if I'm a coach and a 7-year-old comes in and has a horrible experience because I use awful language, they don't touch the ball enough, or I'm not showing them or helping them to navigate the space and the environment, I'm not seeing that they're wilting away in the corner, that nobody's including them, then they're having a horrible experience, which then they might say, oh, I didn't really like swimming. I didn't really like football or basketball or track. I didn't like this. The athletics was this. No one spoke. Like, that ripples in. Then they either don't, causes loads of hassle at home because they don't want to go to the next session. They then share in school they had an awful experience, or it might just stay with them. Now, that might sound extreme, but when I go back to whether it's the research behind the learning styles and we're still trying to make something work, we're trying to find a gap instead of developing ourselves as coaches, or safeguarding, oh, that 3-hour webinar I need to sit on now to tick, tick, tick. It's vitally important, the duty to care stuff, vitally important. And because of what you're saying, the changing lives, the memories they're creating, the life skills of being able to understand themselves, how crazy and brilliant would this world be if people had more self-awareness, and that started younger? So look at you getting me on my high Nelly there, sorry. But that is, you know.
I want to add in this tweet then, which is great because you don't know this is coming.
Love this.
I think it's time to stop talking about high performance environments and start talking about healthy environments, and let inspirational performances naturally flow from that place. Owen Eastwood.
Oh, Owen, you don't need to tell me. I would have got it. Maybe not Owen, but he was in the top list. Healthy environments, love it. Healthy.
It's time to stop talking about high performance environments and start talking about healthy environments. So the question is, I read that and thought, right, well, if it is a high performing environment, surely that's healthy. And it's not a high performance / high performing environment if it's not healthy.
Okay, so I love this. My initial thought was healthy because it's a nice word, and we're thinking physical and mental health. I wrote down here 40 years because I imagine people who've been ingrained in thinking that things should operate and function in a certain way for a long period of time will have a massive issue with change. I don't mean to be ageist and say only a certain category of people will, but where something has existed and actually something sounds cool. I work in high performance. I'm a high performance athlete, or this word elite that's around. It's a cool thing to be. It's a cool thing. Like people love wearing the badges of kit, or and all that.
Of course.
And I love kit, so I'm not saying I'm not one of them, but it's the change part of that. Well, actually, would it mean I'm a great coach if I'm working in a healthy environment or a high performance environment? Like, what's the high mean? What does high? Does high mean that there is a low? Does it mean that it's a efficiently productive space? I mean, we know from our worlds that we could define that, but if you unpick it, what is the need for those two words to be together, and what implications does it have on the people, be it pressure or the effectiveness of their coaching in entering into that space? Where is that line of high performance in the real world, outside, say, funding and other like medal strains that people have on? So is there a certain age group that's high performance? Is there a low performance? Is it performance, a healthy performance environment? Well, what are we performing? And actually, then does that constrain our measure of success to just performing and having an outcome instead of enjoying the process? Loads of random rambles there.
So let me add to that then. So Owen Eastwood then continued with lots of great comments on moving focus from high performance environments to health environments. Many asking, okay, but how? So he then said, first step, slow down and create a space to see and hear the dignity of each person.
Dignity.
Now, I would say it's not a high performance environment if you haven't got that anyway. Second step, redefine success. So beyond outcome goals, it's about getting everyone home safely at the end of our adventure, which I quite like. Third step, in our unique context, design a program that weaves together high performance principles with good social, emotional, and physical health, including a sense of well-being and psych safety, as well as challenging each person to approach their potential as a person performer.
Wow.
Sorry. And fourth, live it every day and give every person or everyone explicit permission to challenge it when we dip below the line. Mm-hmm. Now, my view of a high performance environment is if you don't have that, you're not a high performance environment. Or you could be in terms of level, but you're not high performing.
Yeah. Well, if you take a piece of that and look at the biopsychosocial model, because it's easy reference point for some people to default to. So if we just had the framework to base off actually and a more holistic approach to your coaching, to your environment, to your space, and then you thought about self-determination theory components of it. Can they relate in their environment? Is there an opportunity for them to lead and have autonomy and have some mastery components in there? They feel like they've achieved something like that. And then the care underpinning it all. Like that's what you have there. So is it actually we're stuck on a label? And if the measure of success changes slightly, which we know we can bang on about, we're not saying that we don't want people to be competitive. We're not saying that winning isn't enjoyable. And this is what I say at West Ham all the time.
Yeah.
Just because I want to challenge the use of the word winning in our environment, it doesn't mean I'm not insanely competitive. It doesn't mean that when we almost create a chance or score a goal that I'm not fist pumping and going, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
At the same time, if I see someone doing extras twice in a week, and then I see them recreating that in a game, I'm like, oh, there it is. That was an amazing touch. What a great cross. I think there's so much in that. I do think the how is a big question. How do you do that? How do you challenge the norms of your sport? How do you bring people on that journey? You've listened to Owen Eastwood yesterday in a session and you think, oh God, some gold nuggets here. But then you go back and maybe the environment, the money, the people you work with are not on that same page. And you can pass over the webinar for them to listen to, but it's harder to share those things, you know. But yeah, like the healthy environment scares people because in some people's minds it dilutes the perception of what a coach is, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. Whereas I'm arguing that as a grassroots environment, that will be high performing and healthy if you focus on developing people.
Yeah.
So regardless of where you are, whether you're working in high performance in elite sport or you're working with little kids learning to play football, those tenets should run all the way through.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the next platform I think I'm going to be banging on about relentlessly in the coaching world.
Yeah.
How we set up coaches for the future to be able to manage these.
Yeah. And we need to, we look at me starting an L troop here. I'm on the bandwagon. I'd love to see the shift from the blame being on the system and look at who the system is made up of. I love that. So then it's not saying that you're not doing it right. It's saying, what can we do to support you to do it differently, or to open up to see different ways of doing things, instead of going, oh, listen, our curriculum, we've revamped it a few times. This is just how it is. Well, on the ground, this is what it looks like. So how can we, you know, but yeah, cool. I'm happy to see where that goes. That's exciting. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I love that. I love that. I'm definitely gonna ramble with that for a week and ruminate with that. Thanks for sharing.
That's okay.
Sharing. That was cool. I think we're almost coming to time. Are we almost coming to time?
Yeah. It's 20 or so.
Over. Brilliant. Well, enjoy your lunch, your coffee, whatever you were listening to and doing, traveling, wherever you're going. Always open to hearing your thoughts at Coach Convo on Twitter. You can find some of the tweets that we're talking about in our sessions and join the conversation, or you can email us separately if there's a scenario happening in your environment and you'd like us to unpick it with you. That's coachconversation@gmail.com. Have a lovely week. Thanks for joining us for the episode. See you next week.